You're not broke because you lack opportunity. You're broke because you've built an identity around being broke. And worse, you defend it. Every time someone shows you a path forward, you explain why it won't work for you. Every time wealth crosses your radar, you find a way to disqualify yourself. Every time success gets close, you sabotage it and call it being realistic. That's not humility. That's not self-awareness. That's a survival mechanism designed to keep you comfortable in failure. Here's what separates the top 1% from everyone else. They don't defend their limitations. They dissect them. They don't justify their position. They engineer their exit. You've memorized a script. I'm not good with money. I didn't grow up rich. The system is rigged. People like me don't do that. And every time you repeat it, you're not describing reality. You're programming it. The wealthiest people alive didn't start with advantages. They started with refusal. Refusal to accept the narrative. Refusal to stay small. Refusal to let their circumstances write their future. You're still writing excuses in the margins of someone else's playbook. Stop defending why you can't. Start dissecting why you haven't. Most people fail because they treat wealth like a lottery ticket instead of a system. They see someone successful and think it happened to them, not through them. Let me show you what this looks like in real life. Two people work at the same company, same salary, same opportunities. One walks out 5 years later with $40,000 in debt and no assets. The other walks out with 6 figures saved and 3 income streams running. What happened? The first person spent those 5 years optimizing comfort. Better apartment, nicer car, weekend trips, small upgrades that felt like wins but compounded into dependency. They made $60,000 a year and found a way to spend $62,000. The second person spent those 5 years optimizing leverage, lived below their means, invested the difference, built a side business during lunch breaks, learned skills the market actually paid for. They made $60,000 a year and lived on 38. Same starting point, opposite operating systems. The broke person made emotional decisions and justified them with logic. The wealthy person made logical decisions and enjoyed the emotional payoff later. Here's the difference that destroys most people. The average mind optimizes for today's feelings. The elite mind optimizes for tomorrow's position. You're not failing because you don't have resources. You're failing because you're spending your resources on the wrong optimization function. Stop optimizing for comfort. Start optimizing for capacity. Let me tell you what nobody wants to hear about staying broke. It's not a money problem. It's an identity defense system. You've spent years building an entire worldview that protects you from having to change. And the scariest part? You don't even see it. When someone tells you about an investment opportunity, your first instinct isn't curiosity. It's suspicion. When someone shares how they built wealth, your brain immediately searches for disqualifiers. They got lucky. They had connections. They started with money. That wouldn't work for me. You're not analyzing. You're defending. The elite don't do this. When they encounter new information about wealth, their first question isn't, "Why won't this work?" It's, "How could I make this work?" Same information, completely different processing system. Here's the pattern that keeps you trapped. Average people hear about a wealthy person and immediately look for reasons why that path is closed to them. Elite people hear about a wealthy person and immediately reverse engineer the decisions that built it. Average people see wealth and think privilege. Elite people see wealth and think process. Average people defend their current position by attacking other people's success. Elite people defend their future position by studying other people's systems. This shows up everywhere once you see it. You know someone who complains about their job every single day, but has never updated their resume. Someone who talks about starting a business, but has never registered an LLC. Someone who wants to invest, but has never opened a brokerage account. They're not stuck because they lack options. They're stuck because taking action would require them to abandon the identity they've built around being stuck. And here's the truly devastating part. Broke people bond over being broke. They gather in groups and reinforce each other's limitations. They share articles about why the economy is rigged. They trade stories about bad bosses and unfair systems. They create entire social structures built around the shared agreement that wealth is for other people. This isn't community. It's a containment field. Wealthy people do the exact opposite. They curate their environment for expansion, not validation. They don't need you to agree that something is hard. They need you to show them how someone else did it anyway. When an average person fails, they look for sympathy. When an elite person fails, they look for data. When an average person succeeds, they celebrate. When an elite person succeeds, they immediately ask what's next. The velocity is completely different, but here's where it gets psychological. Most people don't actually want wealth. They want the feeling of wanting wealth. Because wanting something lets you stay exactly where you are while feeling like you're working towards something better. Actually pursuing wealth, that requires you to confront every limitation you've been hiding behind, every excuse you've been using, every comfortable lie you've been telling yourself about why your life looks the way it does. So instead, you stay in the wanting phase. You watch videos, you read books, you talk about your plans, you optimize the fantasy without ever entering the arena. Elite performers understand something you don't. Discomfort is the price of admission. Not occasional discomfort, not discomfort when it's convenient. Sustained, deliberate, chosen discomfort. Living below your means when everyone around you is upgrading. Working on your business when your friends are out celebrating. Saying no to invitations because you're saying yes to your future. The average person makes decisions to avoid pain today. The elite person makes decisions to avoid regret tomorrow. And here's the brutal truth. You can't do both. You can't optimize for comfort and capacity simultaneously. You can't build wealth while defending poverty. You can't become elite while surrounding yourself with people committed to average. At some point, you have to choose. Most people never do. They spend their entire lives in the gray zone, between wanting more and doing what it takes. They resent wealthy people for having what they want, while refusing to adopt the behaviors that build it. That resentment? That's not anger at the system. That's anger at yourself for choosing comfort over consequence. Here's what changes today. Stop consuming content about wealth and start auditing where your money actually goes. Every dollar, every subscription, every impulse purchase you justified as self-care. Write it down. Look at it. No stories, just numbers. You're going to find hundreds of dollars every month going to things that make you feel successful instead of things that make you successful. Cut them, not reduce. Cut. Second, unfollow every account that makes you feel good about staying where you are. Every meme page about being broke. Every group chat where people bond over struggle. Every friend who responds to your ambition with skepticism. You don't need to announce it. You don't need to explain it. Just remove the input. Third, open a separate account today, not tomorrow. Today. Transfer 10% of every dollar you make into it before you pay anything else, before rent, before food, before the things you think you need. This isn't a savings account. This is your capacity account. This is the money that builds businesses, buys assets, creates streams. This is the money that separates people who want wealth from people who build it. Fourth, spend 1 hour this week learning a skill the market actually pays for. Not a hobby, not personal development, a skill someone will pay you real money to deploy. Copywriting, sales, video editing, paid ads, code, design, skills that create leverage. Fifth, find one person who's built what you want and study every public decision they made. Not their inspiration, their execution. What did they do first? What did they say no to? What did they build while everyone else was waiting? Model behavior, not motivation. You're not preparing anymore. You're not getting ready. You're executing. Starting now, 5 years from now, you'll be in one of two places. You'll either be sitting in the same room, having the same conversations, defending the same limitations to a new set of people who believe you. Or you'll be unreachable, not because you disappeared, because you ascended into a version of your life where the old explanations don't even make sense anymore. You'll remember the exact moment you stopped defending why you couldn't and started dissecting why you hadn't. The exact day you cut the inputs that kept you comfortable and opened the channels that made you capable. Your environment will reflect it. Quietly. The details other people don't notice, but you feel every single day. The weight of quality. The space to think. The absence of financial anxiety that used to wake you up at 3 a.m. You won't need to explain yourself anymore. Your position will do that for you. The people who doubted you won't be angry. They'll be confused because you didn't just change your circumstances. You changed your operating system. And from the outside, that looks like magic. But you'll know the truth. It wasn't luck. It wasn't timing. It wasn't privilege. It was refusal. You refused to stay broke. And you stopped defending the identity that kept you there. The empire doesn't announce itself. It just becomes inevitable.